The hallways of the Galactic Academy of Studies buzzed with excitement. Today was the opening of the new Earth exhibit in the Primitive Species Wing. Students from 100 different worlds moved like a colorful river toward the grand doors, where Professor Zixtel stood waiting. The professor's 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he checked the time. His gray skin wrinkled around his mouth as he smiled at the gathering crowd. When the clock struck the hour, he waved his long fingers, and the doors slid open. "Welcome, students," Professor Zixtel said. His voice was smooth and sure. "Today we open our newest educational exhibit on one of the galaxy's most curious cases, planet Earth." The students poured into the large room. Screens lined the walls showing images of Earth, its blue oceans, green lands, and white clouds. Display cases held simple human tools, old computers, and models of their basic spacecraft. Kravox, a top student from the mineral planet Dozer, moved to the front of the group. His rock-like skin glittered under the lights as he studied a model of an early human rocket. This was their most advanced space vehicle. Kravox asked, not hiding the laugh in his voice. "It barely looks able to reach their own moon." Professor Zixtel nodded. "Indeed. Earth is what we call a stunted civilization. They managed basic space travel but never developed the technology to join the wider galactic community properly. They remain isolated in their solar system, making slow progress." A group of students gathered around a display showing human military history. The glass case held simple guns, tanks, and fighter jets. "Look at these weapons," said Mila, a student with blue feathers and sharp eyes. "They still use physical projectiles. No wonder they were never invited to join the Defense Council." The students laughed. Some made jokes about how humans would react to seeing actual advanced weapons. Others wondered why the Academy even bothered studying such a backward planet. In the back of the room, mostly hidden by a tall display case, stood Jack Collins. Unlike the others, Jack was human. His brown hair and ordinary height made him easy to miss among the colorful alien students. He was one of only 3 humans allowed to study at the Academy, part of a cultural exchange program that most saw as charity for the primitive Earthlings. Jack listened to the jokes, his face calm. When students pointed at the displays and laughed, he simply watched. But anyone looking closely might have noticed something odd. Jack wasn't surprised or upset. Instead, a small smile played at the corner of his mouth. "Earth is important to study," Professor Zixtel continued, "as a reminder that not all species advance at the same rate. Some, like humans, reach a certain point and then plateau. They've been using the same basic technology for nearly 100 years." Kravox moved to another display, this one showing Earth's place in galactic politics. The image showed Earth as a tiny dot, connected to only 2 other worlds with thin lines representing minimal trade agreements. "Professor," Kravox called out, "is it true humans don't even know about most alien species? That their leaders keep most galactic knowledge from their own people?" "Correct," the professor said. "Earth's governments decided their population wasn't ready for full disclosure. Only a select few humans know the true extent of galactic civilization." The laughter grew louder. Jack Collins moved quietly toward the exit, that same small smile still on his face. As he reached the door, he turned back for one last look at the students laughing at his homeworld. "Enjoy the exhibit," he whispered to himself. "You have no idea what's coming." A week after the Earth exhibit opened, Professor Zixtel stood at the front of his classroom. The holographic display behind him showed images of different planets. "Your semester projects begin today," he announced. "Each group will study a civilization that failed to reach its potential. You will explain why they fell behind other species." The classroom filled with groans and whispers. Professor Zixtel tapped his screen, and student names began to form into groups. Kravox watched as his name appeared with 4 others: Mila, Dorn, Vazik, and Jack Collins. He frowned. Why put the human in their group? "Professor," Kravox raised his hand. "We have the human in our group. Isn't that unfair for a project about failed civilizations? The class laughed. Professor Zickstall's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. An interesting point, Kravox. Perhaps Mr. Collins can provide insider perspective on his species' limitations. More laughter. Jack sat quietly at his desk, his face calm. After class, the group gathered at a study table in the library. The glass walls showed the stars outside, distant suns and planets spinning slowly. "I say we study Earth," Mila suggested, her blue feathers ruffling with excitement. "It's perfect. We already saw the exhibit, and we have a real human to interview." Dorn, a tall student with gray skin and 4 arms, nodded. "Easy project. Earth never developed proper faster than light travel. They barely leave their solar system." "What do you think, human?" Vazik asked. His snake-like body coiled around his seat as he looked at Jack. "Why did your species fail?" Jack smiled. It was the same small smile from the exhibit. "I think Earth is a great choice," he said, "but maybe not for the reasons you think." Kravox laughed. "There's no shame in it. Some species advance, others don't. It's just biology and physics." "Speaking of research," Jack said, ignoring the comment, "we should look at military history too. Not just technology." The aliens exchanged looks. "Military history is boring," Vazik said. "All species follow the same pattern. Physical weapons, then energy weapons, then field manipulation. Earth stopped at step 1. Jack shrugged. "Just a suggestion. You might find some surprises. Ever heard of Operation Silent Shield?" None of them had. "What is it?" Mila asked. "Look it up," Jack said. "I'm going to get some reference materials." He walked away, leaving the aliens confused. Kravox turned to the library terminal and searched for Earth plus Operation Silent Shield. The screen flashed red. "Access denied. Security clearance required." "That's odd," Kravox said. "Why would anything about Earth be classified?" The group spent the next hour searching the official records. They found the usual information. Earth discovered space travel in the mid-20th century, made contact with the Galactic Alliance in the early 21st century, and had been slowly integrating since then. Nothing special. But something bothered Kravox. There were gaps in the timeline, periods where Earth's activities weren't clearly documented. "I don't like this," he said finally. "The records should be complete. My father is an ambassador. He always says Earth is an open book." "Maybe your father doesn't know everything," Jack said, returning with several data chips. "These might help. They're from Earth's public archives, but they tell a different story than your academy teaches." He placed the chips on the table. Each was labeled with a date and a simple word, Geneva. "What's Geneva?" Dorn asked. "A city on Earth," Jack explained, "but also the location of something important, something that happened right after first contact." "What happened?" Mila asked. Jack's smile grew wider. "That's what we're going to find out. I think it's time you learned why Earth really keeps to itself. It's not what you think." Kravox looked at the data chips, then at Jack. For the first time, he felt uncertain about this project, and about humans. Kravox sat in his room, staring at his personal terminal. His rock-like fingers hovered over the security pad. What he was about to do wasn't exactly against the rules, but it wasn't exactly right either. He entered his father's access codes. Ambassador codes could open many locked doors in the Galactic Alliance database. His father had given him these codes for emergencies only. Was this an emergency? No, but curiosity pushed him forward. The screen flashed green. "Access granted," Kravox typed. "Earth plus Operation Silent Shield." This time, files appeared. Hundreds of them. Most were marked with red borders, meaning they were heavily redacted. Black lines covered most of the text, hiding information from view. "What are you hiding?" Kravox whispered to the screen. One file caught his eye. It was titled Geneva Demonstration. Initial response. The file was almost entirely black lines, but a few words were visible. After the demonstration, the Alliance representatives expressed extreme concern, Earth capabilities far beyond. Recommendation for immediate. Classified as potential Class 9. Class 9. Kravox knew the classification system. Class 9 meant a species with technology that could threaten the entire Alliance. But that was impossible. Earth barely had space travel. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. He quickly closed the files and opened the door. Jack Collins stood there, with another human Kravox had never seen before. "Hope I'm not interrupting," Jack said. "This is Susan Martinez. She's also from Earth." Susan nodded. She was shorter than Jack, with dark hair and serious eyes. "We need to talk," she said. "May we come in?" Kravox stepped aside. The two humans entered his room and closed the door behind them. "You've been looking at classified files," Susan said. It wasn't a question. "How did you know that?" Kravox asked, surprised. Jack smiled. "Because the files are monitored. When anyone accesses information about Operation Silent Shield or the Geneva demonstration, we get an alert." "We?" Kravox asked. "Earth Intelligence," Susan explained. "I'm not really a student. I'm a military historian assigned to the Academy." Kravox felt his rocky skin grow cold. "Am I in trouble?" Susan shook her head. "No. In fact, we've been waiting for someone like you. Someone curious enough to look deeper." "The project was no accident," Jack added. "Professor Zixtal was told to assign you to study Earth. We've been watching you, Kravox. You see patterns others miss." Kravox looked from Jack to Susan and back again. "I don't understand. What is all this about?" "It's about the truth," Susan said. "The truth about Earth. The truth your people have been hiding from their own students." "My people? The Alliance wouldn't lie about." "They would and they did," Jack interrupted. "Think about it, Kravox. Why would information about a primitive planet be classified at the highest level?" Kravox had no answer. Susan pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. It projected a hologram showing a mountain range on Earth. "This is Geneva, Switzerland," she explained. 50 years ago, when the Alliance first made official contact with Earth, they sent representatives to meet with our leaders. Those representatives made a mistake." "What mistake?" Kravox asked. "They threatened us," Jack said. "They thought we were primitive, easy to control. They tried to bully Earth into accepting unfavorable terms." Susan nodded. "So our leaders invited them to Geneva for a demonstration. A hologram change, showing a room full of aliens and humans in formal clothing. What you're about to see has been kept secret from most of the galaxy," Susan said. "After you see it, you'll understand why Earth is classified as it is, and why your friends shouldn't laugh at humans anymore." The hologram began to play. Kravox watched, his 6 eyes widening with each passing moment. The hologram showed a large room with a long table. On one side sat humans in dark suits. On the other side sat Alliance representatives, a mix of different alien species. Their faces showed confidence, even smugness. "This recording is from 50 years ago," Susan explained, "when first contact was made official. In the hologram, an alien with blue skin and 4 arms spoke. As members of the Alliance, we expect Earth to comply with our standard technology sharing requirements. Our scans show you have not yet mastered fusion power or gravity manipulation." A human woman at the table replied calmly. "And if we refuse these terms?" The blue alien laughed. "Then you remain isolated. No trade, no cultural exchange, no protection." "Protection from what?" the human asked. "There are many dangers in the galaxy," the alien said. "Species far less diplomatic than ourselves." The human representatives whispered among themselves. Then an older man spoke. "We invite the Alliance delegation to visit our facility in Geneva tomorrow. We would like to show you something before we make our decision." The hologram shifted to show a mountain. A door opened in its side, revealing a huge cave. The next day, the Alliance representatives were taken to a secret facility. Susan narrated. What they saw changed everything. The hologram showed the aliens walking through long tunnels into a massive underground space. Their faces showed confusion, then shock, as they entered a giant chamber. Inside the chamber were ships, not the primitive rockets from the Academy exhibit, but sleek vessels that glowed with strange energy. Humans in uniforms walked among them, working on machines unlike anything in the hologram's alien delegation had seen before. What? What is this? The blue alien asked, his voice shaking. The human woman smiled. This is Earth's actual defense force. What you've seen on the surface, our public space program, is just what we allow the world to see. Another human stepped forward. For over a century, Earth has maintained two technological tracks. The public one, which your Alliance has observed and dismissed, and this one. The hologram showed more of the facility. Weapons that seemed to bend light itself. Engines that hummed with power beyond what the Alliance used. Screens showing star systems far beyond Earth's solar system. You've been watching us, an alien delegate asked. Of course, the human replied. We've observed the Alliance for decades. We've studied your technologies, your politics, your conflicts. We needed to understand what we were dealing with before revealing ourselves. The blue alien looked angry now. You deceived the entire Alliance. Why? The older human man stepped forward. Because of conversations exactly like the one we had yesterday. Your first instinct was to threaten us, to bully us into submission. We needed to know what kind of neighbors we had before showing our true capabilities. The hologram zoomed in on a massive ship larger than any in the chamber. This is the horizon. The human woman explained to the shocked aliens. It can reach any system in the Alliance within hours. It has visited most of your homeworlds already. None of your sensors detected it. The alien delegates looked at each other in disbelief. Why show us now? The blue alien asked. Because we're ready to join the Alliance, the human said. But as equals, not as subjects. We will share some technologies, keep others private, just like every other species does. The hologram ended. Kravok sat in stunned silence. That's impossible, he finally said. If Earth had such technology, everyone would know. Susan shook her head. Not if we didn't want them to know. But why keep hiding after that demonstration? Kravok asked. The Alliance leadership agreed to classify the true nature of Earth's capabilities. Jack explained. They feared panic if people learned an unknown species had such advanced technology. All those jokes about primitive humans, Kravok whispered. Susan nodded. Are encouraged. The best disguise is one your opponent creates for you. The next day, Kravok could hardly pay attention in class. He kept looking at Jack, seeing the human in a completely new light. Was everyone from Earth hiding such secrets? When class ended, Mila, Dorn, and Vazik approached Kravok. Where were you yesterday? Mila asked, her blue feathers ruffled with annoyance. We were supposed to meet for the project. Sorry, Kravok said. Something came up. Jack walked over to join them. Actually, I think we should all meet today. I have some new information for our research. More mysterious hints. Vazik asked, his snake-like body coiling with irritation. Just tell us what you know. Jack smiled. Not here. Meet us at Docking Bay 12 in 1 hour. Docking Bay 12. Dorn repeated. That's for staff only. Trust me, Jack said, then walked away. An hour later, the 4 alien students arrived at Docking Bay 12. Jack and Susan were waiting beside a small plane-looking shuttle. What's going on? Mila asked. Field trip, Susan said. We got permission to take you somewhere special for your project. Where? Vazik asked. To see the real Earth defense strategy, Jack replied. Get in. The shuttle looked ordinary from the outside, but inside it was unlike anything they had seen before. The controls glowed with a strange blue light. There were no visible engines, yet the air hummed with power. "This doesn't look like Academy technology," Dorn said as they took their seats. "It's not," Susan confirmed. She touched the control panel, and the shuttle lifted off silently. Instead of heading toward the space gate used for normal travel, Susan directed the shuttle toward what looked like empty space. Suddenly, a doorway appeared, a break in reality itself that hadn't been visible before. "Dimensional doorway," Jack explained as they passed through it. "We hide them throughout the galaxy." The shuttle emerged near Earth, but not the Earth shown in Academy images. This Earth was surrounded by an array of satellites and stations that formed patterns around the planet. "The SHIELD network," Susan explained. "Our first line of defense. It's been here for over a century, but it remains invisible to standard Alliance sensors." "How is that possible?" Kravox asked. "Phase shift technology," Jack said. "Earth developed it long ago. Our public technology appears primitive because that's what we want people to see." "But why?" Mila asked. "Why hide your true abilities?" Susan guided the shuttle toward a large station hidden in Earth's shadow. "Human history taught us something important," she explained. "When a technologically advanced society meets a less advanced one, the less advanced one usually suffers. When aliens first secretly visited Earth centuries ago, our leaders made a decision." "What decision?" Vazek asked. "To hide," Jack said. "To watch and learn before revealing ourselves. To appear weak while becoming strong." The shuttle docked at the station. Through the windows, the alien students could see hundreds of ships, all far more advanced than anything they had seen in the Alliance fleet. "This is just one of dozens of similar stations throughout our solar system," Susan said. "We call it the deception strategy." "But the Alliance has been peaceful with Earth," Dorn protested. "Only after the Geneva demonstration," Jack reminded him. "Before that, they tried to bully us. And we know from monitoring Alliance communications that many still view Earth as a potential target, a resource-rich world with a supposedly primitive defense system. Our entire civilization is built on strategic deception," Susan added. "Our public technology advances slowly, deliberately. Meanwhile, our actual capabilities grow in secret." As they exited the shuttle, a tall human man in a dark uniform greeted them. "Welcome to Station Omega," he said. "I'm Commander Pete Rogers. I understand you've been learning about our little secret." "These are the students we told you about," Susan said. "They're ready for the next phase." "Next phase of what?" Kravox asked. "Of your education," Commander Rogers replied. "It's time you learned why Earth really hides from the galaxy." Commander Rogers led the group through Station Omega. The hallways were filled with humans in uniforms, working with technology that made the alien students stare in wonder. Screens showed star maps of the entire galaxy, with countless blinking lights representing human ships and bases. "This is our main monitoring center," Rogers explained as they entered a large room. "From here, we track every known species in the galaxy." "Every species?" Dorn asked, his forearms crossed in disbelief. "That's impossible." Rogers smiled. "We have observer ships near every major civilization, completely undetectable." "But why?" Mila asked. "Why go to such lengths to hide?" "Follow me," Rogers said. He led them to another room. Inside was a holographic display showing Earth's history. Images flickered across the display. Wars, disasters, conflicts. "Humans fought each other for thousands of years," Rogers explained. "We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times. Each time, we learned and adapted." The display showed images of early human space exploration. "When we first reached space, we detected signals, alien communications from distant worlds. We realized we weren't alone." "So you made contact?" Vazek asked. Rogers shook his head. "No, we listened. For decades, we just listened, and what we heard frightened us." The display changed to show recordings of alien conversations, discussions about resource extraction from primitive worlds, debates about which species deserved rights, and plans for colonization. We heard the Alliance debate whether primitive species should be protected or exploited, Jack added. We heard arguments about which planets were worth claiming. We learned that in the galaxy, power is the only true protection. So instead of revealing ourselves, Susan continued, we developed our technology in secret. We built hidden bases throughout our solar system, then beyond. Rogers touched the display, and it changed to show a massive ship, unlike anything the alien students had seen before. This is the Sentinel, he said, our first true deep space vessel. While we sent primitive rockets to our moon in public, the Sentinel was traveling to other star systems. We've been visiting your homeworlds for over a century, Jack said, learning your languages, studying your technologies, understanding your weaknesses. The alien students looked at each other in shock. That's impossible, Kravach said. Our defense systems would have detected you. Rogers laughed. Your defense systems are based on technology the Alliance shares with all members. We've never shared our true capabilities, so you don't know what to look for. He led them to a large window. Outside floated hundreds of ships, each different from the next. Some were small and sleek, others massive and powerful. This is just one fleet, Rogers explained. We have several, all hidden throughout the galaxy. Why show us now? Dorn asked. Why reveal this secret? Because things are changing, Susan said. The Alliance's attitude toward Earth has been shifting. Some members want to push us around, thinking we're weak. We need allies who understand the truth, Jack added. Students who will one day hold positions of power in their worlds. Rogers nodded. We're not revealing this to frighten you. We want peace, but we prepare for war because that's what human history taught us to do. Mila moved closer to the window, her blue feathers reflecting the lights of the human fleet. All this time, she said quietly, we've been laughing at you, making jokes about primitive humans. And we encouraged it, Susan replied. The best place to hide is in plain sight, disguised as something no one takes seriously. So Earth isn't actually part of the Alliance? Vazek asked. We are, Rogers said. But on our terms, the Alliance leadership knows our true capabilities. The general public doesn't. Until now, Jack added, looking at the alien students. Until you. The next day, Commander Rogers took the students to a different part of Station Omega. This section was quieter, with fewer people rushing around. The walls were lined with strange plants and small fountains. This is where our strategists work, Rogers explained. We find that peaceful surroundings help with clear thinking. They entered a large round room. In the center sat an older human with white hair. He wore a simple black uniform with small silver stars on the collar. Students, this is Admiral Gary Boyd, Rogers said. He's the head of Earth's Strategic Command. The Admiral stood and smiled. Welcome to Earth's true face. I understand you've had quite an education these past few days. Kravach stepped forward. Admiral, I still don't understand. If Earth is so powerful, why hide it? Why not take your rightful place in the galaxy? The Admiral gestured for everyone to sit on the cushioned seats arranged in a circle. Let me tell you a story from Earth's history, he began. Long ago, on our planet, there were many separate nations. Some were very strong and made sure everyone knew it. They built big weapons, held military parades, and threatened others. Like the Drover Empire, Vazek said. The Admiral nodded. Exactly. And what happened to the Drover Empire? They were destroyed, Mila answered. 3 different species formed an alliance against them because they feared Drover power. Precisely, the Admiral said. Now, in that same period of Earth's history, there was a small island nation that appeared weak. They had few natural resources and a small military, but secretly they developed advanced technology and gathered intelligence on everyone. What happened to them? Dorn asked. They survived and thrived, the Admiral replied. While empires rose and fell, they remained, because no one saw them as a threat worth eliminating. The Admiral stood and walked to a window overlooking Earth. In the universe, strength that is visible becomes a target, he continued. The species that broadcasts its power is the first that others unite against. But the species that hides its strength becomes the final surprise. Is that your philosophy? Kravox asked. To be the final surprise. It's our survival strategy, Jack explained. We studied thousands of alien civilizations before making contact. We saw how the strong were feared and eventually challenged. We saw how the openly advanced were pressured to share technology they weren't ready to give up. So we made a choice, Susan added, to appear average. Not too weak, not too strong. Just another developing species finding its way. The Admiral turned back to face them. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to survive in it. And sometimes survival means not showing all your cards. But what about trust? Mila asked. How can there be real peace if you're hiding your true nature? An excellent question, the Admiral said. That's why you're here. We're starting with small groups, students, future leaders, showing the truth to those who might understand. Why us? Vazik asked. Because you questioned the official story, Rogers replied. You looked deeper when others accepted what they were told. The Admiral nodded. The alliance is changing. Old threats are growing. New dangers are emerging. Earth can't remain hidden forever, nor do we want to. But we need allies who understand why we did what we did. What happens now? Kravox asked. Now you have a choice, the Admiral said. Return to the Academy knowing the truth but keeping our secret, or join a special program. We're gathering representatives from various worlds, people who can help build a new kind of alliance, one based on genuine understanding, not fear or power. The alien students looked at each other. Before you decide, Jack said, there's one more thing you should see. The real reason Earth has stayed hidden for so long. A week later, Professor Zixtal stood at the front of his classroom. Behind him, the holographic display showed the usual images of Earth, a blue planet with primitive satellites and basic space stations. Today, we continue our discussion of stunted civilizations, he began. As you know, some species reach a certain technological level and then stop advancing. Earth is our primary example off. The classroom door slid open. A group of serious-looking Alliance officials entered, led by a tall alien with gold robes and official symbols of the High Council. Professor Zixtal, the gold-robed official said, "This class is now canceled." The professor's 6 eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. Counselor Drav, what is the meaning of this? By order of the High Council, all Academy materials regarding Earth are to be immediately revised. Counselor Drav announced, Earth's classification has been changed. The students whispered among themselves. Kravox, sitting in the back row, exchanged glances with Mila, Dorn, and Vazik. Changed to what? Professor Zixtal asked, clearly shocked. Earth is now classified as a strategic alliance of highest priority, the counselor replied. All previous teaching materials are obsolete. The holographic display behind the professor suddenly changed. The images of primitive Earth disappeared, replaced by pictures of advanced ships, weapons, and technology. The students gasped. Beginning today, Counselor Drav continued, a new curriculum will be implemented. Earth representatives will be joining the teaching staff to provide accurate information about human civilization. The door opened again. Jack and Susan entered, now wearing formal uniforms with Earth insignia. They were followed by Admiral Boyd and Commander Rogers. These humans, Counselor Drav said, will be leading the new required course for all students, Strategic Underestimation, the Human Approach to Galactic Politics. Professor Zixtal looked stunned. Is this some kind of joke? No joke, Professor, Admiral Boyd said. Just the truth, finally revealed. The Admiral stepped forward and addressed the class. For generations, Earth has hidden its true capabilities from the galaxy. We encouraged others to underestimate us, to see us as primitive and unthreatening. This was our choice. our survival strategy in an uncertain universe. Commander Rogers activated a small device. The classroom walls seemed to disappear, revealing a view of space around them. Suddenly, ships appeared, hundreds of them, materializing from nowhere. The students cried out in surprise. "These ships have always been here," Susan explained. "Watching, protecting, waiting. You just couldn't see them." "Until now," Jack added. Kravox raised his hand. "Admiral, why reveal everything now? What changed?" Admiral Boyd nodded approvingly at Kravox. "An excellent question. The answer is simple: threat assessment. We've detected signals from beyond the known galaxy. Something is coming. Something that will require all civilizations to stand together." "The time for secrets between allies is over," Commander Rogers said. "Earth needs real partners, not subjects who fear us or rivals who misunderstand us." Counselor Drav turned to face the class. "Students, what you're witnessing is historic. The balance of power in the Alliance has just been rewritten. Earth is not what we thought, not what we taught you." Jack walked to the front of the room and stood beside the now silent Professor Zixtal. "I hope you'll all join the new class. There's so much to learn about the real Earth." As the other students filed out, still talking excitedly about the revelation, Kravox and his three friends stayed behind. "You knew," Professor Zixtal said to them. "Somehow, you knew." Kravox nodded. "We learned the truth, Professor. Earth isn't a failed civilization. It's perhaps the most successful one in the galaxy." "All those jokes about primitive humans," Mila added. "All that laughter." Susan smiled. "Sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage of all." "And now?" Professor Zixtal asked. "Now," Admiral Boyd replied, "we face the future together. As equals. No more secrets, no more deception." The Admiral looked at Kravox and his friends, starting with those who were curious enough to see beyond the obvious, those who stopped laughing at Earth long enough to learn the truth.